my Jamaica Mountain Peak Golden Turmeric Latte is
12 p.m.
It's Monday, May 20, 2024. Welcome to CVM News at Noon. I'm Nika Lewis. As controversy continues to plague the constitutional reform process amid calls for the Privy Council to be removed as the final appellate court, Prime Minister Andrew Holness has definitively declared his government's position. He was speaking on Sunrise this morning, where he says the ultimate decision should be left up to the people.
Our position is that a final court should be a Jamaican final court. However, whatever ends up being the final court should go through this process of an indicative referendum. The people should have a say on it. That's number one for us. People should have a say. And secondly, if we are having a final court to be repatriated, it shouldn't go to Port of Spain, it should come to Kingston. That has been our position. Now, on the matter of the final court, because we are saying to the people of Jamaica, we also want to hear your view on it. It may very well turn out that the view of the public is that it should be the CCJ.
Right.
So what we don't want to do is to go to the situation in prescribing to the people of Jamaica.
So
this is what it is.
So you have a position, but it's not a hardline position.
No, our position is, first and foremost, let the people decide it. Right? What we would like to see is this, but really, the people should decide it. What the PNP is saying is, don't ask the people anything. Just go to the CCJ.
And Prime Minister Andrew Holness also shared his thoughts on dual citizenship and whether members of the diaspora should be allowed to join Parliament. This issue sparked heated debates recently when Leader of the Opposition Mark Golding posited that dual citizenship should not hinder one's ability to serve the people. Golding has come under much scrutiny as his position contradicts that of previous PNP administrations and is further contentious, given that he is also a citizen of the United Kingdom. PM Holness believes Golding's position, given that reality, is untenable.
Once you are a Jamaican, you have Jamaican citizenship, we believe you should be entitled to enter our parliament and serve. However, having entered the parliament, if it is that you intend to become the ultimate decision maker, then you must divest yourself of any other loyalty, even if it is not required legally. Because in the minds of the Jamaican people, or any country, they're going to want to know that your ultimate decision maker is only making decisions based upon a single, transparent loyalty and allegiance to them.
And that you're in it with us. You can't escape. You are in what we are in.
And so more pointedly to my question then, that in relation to your opposition counterpart, that you're saying that his position would be untenable.
I think anyone in that position would be untenable, and not just that, I think it would be incurable. In other words, having gone ahead to say, I want to lead the country ultimately, and not having taken that step before, you can't cure it afterwards, because already the question is, then why didn't you do this before? Why did you carry us along and not declare this to us?
In other news now, the Registrar General's Department, RGD, has teamed up with the Jamaica Society for the Blind, JSB, to hand over Braille birth certificates. This game-changing partnership sees the JSB taking charge of the Braille printing, sparking economic opportunities for the visually impaired community. Dancehall artist Nigel Boy Hector proudly received the third Braille birth certificate issued on sunrise this morning. He shared his excitement, calling it a leap towards a more inclusive society. This milestone caps off a successful week for Naiji Boy, who also celebrated musical triumphs and graduated with a double major in political science and history from Stony Brook University.
It's a phenomenal feeling. You know, a step like this is huge. This, to me, is what you define as inclusivity.
Yes.
Where you have, you know, another community being able to access, you know, pertinent information such as this. Because, you know, I never thought a day would come when I'd be receiving a certificate of birth in Braille. Allah, look at my age paper, guys.
I love that.
Indeed. And it's now time for the rebroadcast of our new weekly feature, Query This, with Natalia Clark, which airs every Sunday at 7 p.m.
The police arrest dozens of people daily. Let's say you're one of those people. What are your rights to liberty in the event you've been accused of a crime? Can the police just have you languishing in lockup, or are you entitled to bail? And under what circumstances can your bail application be considered? I'm Natalia Clark, and on the very first installment of Query This, defense attorney Matthew Hyatt interprets the 2023 Bail Act.
You can get bail pre-charge, meaning that once you are arrested and detained, bail can be considered within 48 hours. And then you have what we are accustomed to, which is post-charge, and bail again can be considered within 48 hours. And thirdly, we have post-conviction, where bail again can also be considered pending the appeal.
But there are conditions. To be eligible for bail prior to being charged, the police must declare more time is needed to investigate your involvement in the case. That means there's a possibility you could go home while they further investigations. But in some cases, they will argue you must remain in custody to allow the case to unfold.
If the police needs more time, for example, to conduct an identification parade, or perhaps a question and answer, or even to gather other intelligence that they have, then they can have an additional 120 hours in which to do so.
And to seek bail after being found guilty, which is not always an option, you must have been on bail immediately prior to your conviction, particularly for offenses not captured on screen, and you are now awaiting an appeal or sentencing. But being eligible for bail under any criteria not mean it's guaranteed. Hyatt, drawing on his 5 years of experience, says the judge and other deciding officials will have several considerations.
The seriousness of the offense. In Jamaica, we have a very high crime rate, particularly murders, gun crimes. And so a court will consider, for example, the nature and character of the person, the antecedents of the individual. They will look at whether or not the person is a flight risk, for example. They will look at the particular crime to see whether or not it is one that is continuously prevalent in the Jamaican society.
The attorney further explains, if your bail application is denied, you can appeal the grounds and try again.
Then provisions are made in the Bail Act for you to appeal that decision, where the judge will have to give their reasons in writing within 24 hours, and that decision can be appealed.
On the other hand, if you are granted bail, the deciding officer will impose restrictions. Any deviation from these will result in you being detained.
If you commit an offense whilst on bail and you're brought before the court your bail will be revoked. Absolutely no doubt about that. And once your bail is revoked, you are less likely to be given bail thereafter.
Further to that, if you are granted bail prior to being charged, the police have 6 months to prefer charges, after which you are released unconditionally, unless another 6 months is requested and granted.
For more information, you can always visit the Ministry of Justice's website and/or search online for the Bail Act 2023. Do you have a legal question? Meeting up on roadblocks when dealing with state agencies? How about issues with a neighbor? Feeling like you're not sure how to handle them? That's when you send me a note at nclark@cvmtv.com to say, query this. I'm Natalia Clark, helping you to get the facts and be in the know.
We do apologize for the audio quality in that feature, but we're up on a break. News at Noon continues after these.
Your trusted partner in health and wellness for over 30 years, with 8 convenient pharmacies across Eastern Jamaica. Supermed Mall Pharmacy, Supermed New Kingston, Supermed Pepine, Supermed Port Antonio Pharmacies 1 and 2, Claire's St. Mary, Lloyd's St. Thomas, and a convenient drive-through at our Hughenden location where you can get your medication without leaving your car. We're dedicated to providing you with the highest level of care. Experience the difference with Supermed family of pharmacies. Super happy, super healthy.
And you go down and have a good day. Blessing. Supermed.
Welcome back. It's now time for a discussion segment, and we're talking a little bit of politics now because opposition leader Mark Golding has recently acknowledged his British citizenship. It sparked intense scrutiny and debate. Golding argues that there is no legal requirement for him to renounce this status, while critics, including members of the Jamaica Labour Party, accuse him of hypocrisy, especially given his stance on the Privy Council. Here with us today to discuss these developments is Professor of Public Policy and Political Leadership and Strategy, Professor Damien Gordon, and Attorney at Law and Constitutional Lecturer, Mr. Shane Dalling. Welcome, gentlemen.
Thanks for having me, Nico.
Indeed.
Thanks for having me.
Indeed. Well, let's start with the basics. I'll start with Mr. Dalling because you're the constitutional lecturer I'm seeing as well. What are the legal requirements, firstly, regarding dual citizenship for Jamaican parliamentarians according to the Constitution?
All right. So let me bring you to Section 39 and Section 40 of the Jamaican Constitution, which essentially, I'll break it down, that allows for citizens of the Commonwealth as well as citizens of Jamaica who have resided in Jamaica at least 12 months prior to an election or the nomination day for election to qualify to sit in the House. Section 40, subsection 2 of the Constitution makes it clear that persons who have sworn allegiance by their own act to a foreign power would be barred from sitting in the House of Representatives. And the case of Darrell Vaz, Dabdu versus Darrell Vaz, was instructive because the court clarified what it meant by your own act, swearing allegiance to a foreign power. That despite you being a Jamaican citizen, born Jamaican, acquiring dual citizenship from another country, a foreign power other than the Commonwealth, if by virtue of your own act, meaning if attaining the age of majority, you renew a passport or traveled on a passport of the foreign country, then you would be deemed to be disqualified by virtue of your own act. So while you acquire the citizenship of a foreign state, what the court is saying that you could still maintain that position, having dual citizenship of a foreign for foreign power other than Commonwealth, as long as you do not, by your own act, swear allegiance to that country, which is renewal or traveling on a passport of a foreign state.
All right. Well, that's a great place for us to take a pause because we're up on a quick break and we'll come right back to the conversation.
To the fullest with HIV. This time signal is brought to you by the Ministry of Health and Wellness. The time is
12:15.
Welcome back to CVM News at Noon. It's our discussion segment. We're talking about dual citizenship and parliamentarians. We have two noted attorneys in the House. Well, they're on Zoom. We have assistant lecturer, and he is Mr. Shane Dalling. He is big on constitutional matters. And we also have Professor Damian Gordon. So welcome back. Before we went to the break, we spoke to Mr. Dalling about what the Constitution says about parliamentarians and dual citizenship. And now I want to bring in Professor Gordon to the conversation because Mark Golding had said that he was compliant with Section 39 of the Jamaican Constitution. But can you explain what this section entails and how it applies to Golding's situation?
All right, so on a point of correction, my title is not professor. I'm actually an assistant lecturer of public policy and management and political science. So it's just an important.
And I am guided.
Of correction, right?
All right.
So the dual citizenship concern, the dual citizenship issue concerning the opposition leader is based on the fact that his parents were British citizens and he would have acquired the British citizenship on that basis. So in his case, it is really a matter of a technicality where he's a British citizen by virtue of the fact that he has acquired British citizenship from his parents who were born in the UK. Considering the fact that the UK is a part of the Commonwealth or is the head of the Commonwealth, legally he is not precluded from holding public office because holders of residents of Commonwealth territories are allowed to hold public office even if they are holders of dual citizenship. The contention that is being raised is a matter, however, one of principle, because you know that the opposition leader has been strident in terms of saying that Jamaica should only decolonize should move away from the Privy Council and move away from having the British monarch the head of state. So the argument that is being raised, which has some merit, is that as if you are saying that we should move away and denounce our links, our connection, or ties to the UK, and you retain your British citizenship, even though you have it on the basis of technicality, then there can be arguments. A reasonable argument can be made that your position is unprincipled to some extent, but legally is not barred from holding office in Jamaica because the law allows for Commonwealth citizens who has a dual citizenship with two Commonwealth territories to hold the public office in Jamaica.
Understood. But Mr. Golding now, and this one is for you, Mr. Dalling, because Mr. Golding had suggested that we reconsider the rule that bars certain dual citizens from the Jamaican Parliament. What implications could such a change have on Jamaican politics?
Well, put it this way. We are going through a constitutional reform process. And the people of Jamaica are becoming suspicious of the process because of the issue that we are discussing today.
Okay.
One, we are asking the Jamaican people to get rid of the relics of colonialism, which is the monarch, the Privy Council, and the issue of the Commonwealth. The Commonwealth is the Commonwealth of Great Britain, right? It's a part of the colonial history. And therefore, the maintenance of the